Cool. How's it going out there though in your neck of the woods, Javier?
Man, it's hot. It's super hot right now. It was 108 this week. I'm like, oh,
Where are you based out of?
I'm in the Fort Worth area.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, out here it's nice and cloudy.
Yeah.
To the point where you actually need a little nice small coat or
Yeah.
or just a sweater, but it's feels fresh. Fresh, I guess would be the right word. Doesn't feel like it's summer on our end yet. Yeah, so it looks like we're streaming live now. We're good to go. And cool. If you're ready, we can actually start.
Okay. All right, Vicente. Well, thanks for having
Yes.
me on. I'm Javier Benitez. I'm with OnTask. Vicente gave me the opportunity to come online today and kind of talk to you guys about automation in and out of tax season. So with that, I'll begin.
Yeah, thank you, Javier. And for those that don't know me, my name is Vicente with Latino Tax Pro. Um, Today we have our good friend Javier. We actually have known him for a long time
Yeah.
before he started with OnTask. So, well, to give you guys a little bit of feedback of what OnTask does, we have a lot. As you have heard, Latino Tax Pro, we are a technology company. We embrace automation, and we're always looking for new opportunities to keep growing within the technology industry. But today, Javier and I, we were talking a couple of weeks ago, like, hey, you know what? They're going to be at the fest as well. And we were talking about how simple we can make documents, contracts, and he's going to dive a little bit more into this information. But we wanted to bring this up in case you're wondering what's on task, what do they do? But he's going to go over that information. If you're whatever platform that you're following us from, you can submit any questions for Javier, and we'll answer them as we're going, or at the end of the presentation. Either way, we'll get to as many questions as possible. But with that said, Javier, I'm gonna leave it to you now.
Thanks, Vince. Yeah, with automation, I know with since COVID, being having the ability to be online and automate some of these processes, not only during tax season, which is very important, but also outside of tax season. I know many of you have offices outside of tax during after tax season is over. I know a lot of you run different businesses, whether it be real estate, travel companies, event centers where you're doing quinceañeras or weddings or other events like that. So being able to automate some of the contracts or some of the processes to not only improve customer service or save time and money, but also be able to scale your business and help it grow. So you can focus on growing the business versus doing those tedious operational tasks, which is like trying to get signatures on contracts or anything like that. So streamlining your operations and some of your business processes. So it's very important to kind of ask yourself, like, what do you do day to day? Are your team members, are they doing repetitive tasks on a frequent basis? Are you having trouble getting responses from customers, or are you just frustrated with hunting down the right documents? So that's what I kind of dive into on some of the streamlining operational processes. All right, so when it comes down to it, where do you start, right? When it comes down to the process, it can be hard to know where to start. I recommend by asking yourself some of these following questions, like what tasks are we doing that require human touch? If it doesn't involve, creativity or problem-solving skills, it's something that can be automated. Think about tax season and collecting client intake forms. I mean, it's a tedious process, Vince, and so especially when it's done on paper, you're sending documents back and forth via email. There's a lot of errors that could go wrong when you get the human touch involved in it. But from the entire process from start to finish, it can be automated. It can be eliminated to send emails or follow up to get documents that you need to return. So processes like I would say like client intake forms, engagement letters, questionnaires that collect information, uploads of crucial documents like W-2s or driver license photos. That could all be automated for your tax business. So next one. So the four ways I want to kind of touch base on how to automate some of your processes. One's going to be e-signature. That's one that everybody uses nowadays is e-signature. For most of your tax software, software that you use is already embedded in the signing process with the KVA. So that's the most, I would say that's the most common one. Another one would be digital forms. So any digital forms, I would say like the client intake, would be one, engagement letters, anything that you need back from the client that can be digitized. So it's not like you don't need a wet signature on it. You don't need to, do a paper form. That's something that can be embedded directly, I would say, even on your website. So that your client can start the process. They can upload all their IDs, their W-2, social, depending on how they answer it. They can upload all that documentation that you need. And then automated documents is how's those documents getting routed. So that's very important in today's world, because it could shorten down some of the tedious tasks that your tasks or your employees are doing. And of course, customer support, right? What the customer support is if you automate it gives you more time to interact with your clients and build relationships versus trying to track down specific paperwork for them. So the first one would be e-signature. So with e-signatures, our goal there is to basically cut down on document turnaround times and make signing easier for clients and employees. The big one, some of the benefits for that would be security and compliance. I know a good signature tool should have a built-in HIPAA, CCPA, FERPA, SOC 2, and any other unique compliances, especially having to deal with the IRS. The second benefit is going to be it's going to help your clients gain better visibility into the process, or for your employees too. For example, e-signatures, they feature audit trails, timestamps so that you can see where a document is and when it's been signed, so you're not searching through your emails for answers. The third way was going to be faster turnaround times. I would say getting e-signatures, back from a client, it typically takes 5 days or earlier on average, making that, it makes it the single best thing you can do to combat long document process sometimes. And I know getting signatures back during tax season, if it's sent is very important, because I know a lot of your clients want their tax return back on a timely basis. So faster turnaround times is definitely going to help you guys out. Digital forms. So this is one of my favorite ones, is being able to digitize any documents that you have. I would say definitely for like the engagement letters or the client intake, being able to add this directly on your website, and then being able to store it all in one place. So with these engagement letters that you guys have that you send out to your clients, that could be something that can be embedded, like put a QR code or a link directly on your website, and then you can secure data collection easily. You can easily upload any documents that you need. So depending on how they answer it, it'll ask them to upload their ID, their W-2, 1040, and then outside of tax season, for let's say like for real estate, you can capture all the documentation that you need for the client too. It's also going to reduce data entry errors, and then being able to access that form anywhere because it's in the cloud. Besides that, I know, being in the tax industry myself for a while in the software side of it, I know the number one question that these tax preparers they would get during tax season is, hey, I'm buying a house or I'm going to school. I need a copy of my 1040 or 8879. Do you have a copy? And for most companies, if you're desktop and you go directly to that desktop, where you have to pull out a signed copy from your cabinet file. But if you automate that process, depending on what tool you use, you can just pull it up from, get on your phone, pull it from the cloud, and email directly to the clients too. With that being said too, is your clients have access too. So if they sign it electronically, they should have a copy in their email, so they can just pull it up. Whatever tool they use to sign it, they can pull it up and check their email, go to the history, they can just pull it up, so they don't have to call your office every single time.
Yeah, especially now, with the unfortunate COVID situation. One of the good things that came out of that is specifically the
Yeah.
technology. Less contact, and even now, if you go to restaurants, there's still less contact. They don't really give you a menu.
Yeah.
Just scan the QR code and place your order, and you can even pay through that QR code. So the technology is really, really advancing. I think I had read somewhere that we jumped about 5 years into the future with technology in just a couple months. So with that said, Javier, a lot of people would find it beneficial to really use and embrace this technology.
Yeah.
This way you don't have to be coming into the office, trying to dig for paperwork, and hopefully whoever's filing did their job correctly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variables that come into play here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I would even say too, like is you want to make the customer experience great for your clients. So if you want repeat customers, and in the tax industry, there's you can probably throw a stone and hit a tax preparer or a tax office, depending on what city you're at. But you can hit one, just by throwing a stone. So it's the customer experience is if you provide a customer experience with automation where customers can sign documents electronically and get it back to you without having to like print it out, scan it, and do wet signatures, and then emailing it back to you. That goes a long way because it gives that client more like nowadays with even with the younger generation, I would say the older generation too. They want to do everything it's a lot more convenient. They want to do it quick, so they can do it on their phone. It's more power to them. All right, so documents. So some of the documents that we see, like I mentioned, what would be like digitized engagement letters, client intake, proposals, agreements, contracts that are more dynamic, documents outfitted with powerful generation and routing capabilities. So even now, the automation with I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chat GPT being automated documents through Chat GPT and the send them out for signatures. That helps you out because your staff can focus on any task that's going to generate your company revenue versus when you put them on a tedious task like chasing documents down. That's the operational cost, which is costing your company money. It's not generating revenue for your company anymore. And then version control, I would say version control consistency. That means being able to lock down that document where the clients can't make any changes to it. They can't, they get what you want them to get, and they can't even make any changes. So for the legality of it as well. And of course, secure filing and paperless storage. So being in an office, I know the cost of having a server. It's expensive, and then having somebody in IT to store it. But I would say if you're definitely looking at automation, um, looking at a tool or a platform that's going to be able to store it for free on the cloud. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, easy document access. So one example that I gave was like during tax season, if one of your clients is asking for a copy of their 8879 or their completed return, they can just pull it up themselves, so they don't have to keep calling your office every 10 minutes asking for it. And of course, bulk sends. This is I know bulk sends being like, let's say, for instance, you have a engagement letter or client intake before tax season. Tax season is coming up, and you want to send everybody like, hey, before tax season comes, I want to get my tax preparers prepared. Here's an engagement letter. You can do a bulk send and send it to 1,000 clients versus doing it one by one email. So sending that engagement letter, getting all those documents that you need, then you can start preparing those taxes before they even get to the office. So the customer support, so quick responses to customer questions to making customers feel seen should be at the top of your priority list. And I'll get into it. I'll pull up some stats here in the next couple of slides, but having better response times. So when it comes down to it, we're living in the age of instant gratification. And that's true for all your customers, right? I would say that there was a research done by Forrester Research that said 77% of customers say that valuing their time is the most important thing company can do to provide them with good online customer service. So yeah, I would say better response time. That's very much up there. Now the second one would be boost customer satisfaction. In addition to better customer service, response times, automation can actually have a direct impact on your customer satisfaction. If you think about it, by automating processes and freeing up time, you can focus more on identifying ways to improve your product for customers, and also focus on building relationships with some of your customers. And faster turnaround rates. During taxes, if it's something, like your customers, their number one goal is, hey, when am I getting my tax return? So if you automate some of those processes and you eliminate some of the errors from human touch, it'll cut down on some of those when you e-file that return to get sent back from the IRS because there was a mistake on it. So, taking some of those errors out, and getting that information sent out to ours in a quicker time and correctly is going to help your clients come back and the retention year after year. So improved customer services. So these are some of the stats I wanted to bring up. So 89% of consumers are more likely to make another purchase after positive customer service experience. So Vicente, do you see that there at Latino Tax, with customers, you guys provide a good customer service and then your customers returning because of a positive customer experience?
Yes, at Latino Tax Pro, we focus a lot on customer service. Of course, trying to engage in a very seamless and streamlined service and as best as possible as we can. But for the most part, I think we do a great to, I guess, close to an amazing job. But then again, I work here, so
Yeah.
so, so I want to say that we do a good job. But we would love to hear your feedback, and of course, there's always room for improvement. So we're not saying we're perfect. We're saying
Yeah.
if you can help us grow and get the stats to be even higher, even better. But
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely focus a lot here on customer service.
Yeah. The second one was Vicente, was the Sitel Group found that 58% of consumers believe a good customer experience is a deciding factor when making buying decisions and then choosing one brand over another. So that's something I mentioned earlier. There's a lot of tax preparers out there, and to me, if I was choosing one, and I always choose it this way, is who's going to give me the better customer experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if I don't have to like print anything out for my email and sign it and send it back, because then I'm paying money to go find a solution to electronically sign that document.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think so. I think that the customer service,
Yeah.
whenever everyone or somebody has a great experience, like you said, if I don't have to print anything out, if it's seamless,
Yeah.
this is the route that I want to go. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Customer service is the way to go.
Yeah. And I would say too that customers want to feel confident. You know,
Yes. Or just because your name is X, Y, and Z doesn't necessarily mean that that I have to go through you. But then again, yes, you could have um a better service or a
yeah.
better product, but if your service doesn't match that product, it's kind of hard for people to go back, and they
Yeah.
can do a little bit, and maybe save some bucks on the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is probably the most exciting statistic out there is 75% of customers are willing to spend more money with businesses that give them a good customer experience. So that's a big one. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, I believe it. Well, I mean, even from personal experience, if I have two stores, one of them's a brand name, but they
Yeah.
don't give me good customer service. I don't want to mention names, but if
Yeah.
I'm over here with Javier, who gives me a great customer service, who's barely starting up, guess where I'm going all the time? I'm going with Javier.
Yeah.
Because
And
to me, I mean, I think a lot of us value a lot that customer service and the user end experience.
yeah. In automation, I would say it's going to it'll make it easier for your company to boost customer experience without a large dollar investment, and then also not by not adding headcount to your employees
Yeah,
or to your company.
exactly. And I think what automation does is you can get to customers quicker
Yeah.
without having to lose that focus and customer service
Yeah.
experience. So I think that's really what automation does is if we want to service more people, how do we do that? This is where automation kicks in. But I don't want to lose that customer service experience that they already have, like my previous customers. I still want
Yeah.
to give them that one-on-one type session.
Gotcha. Yep.
Mhm.
And improve automation. And I would say when you're searching for a tool, and it doesn't matter what it is, not only for tax season but also outside of tax season, you want to be able to personalize some automated communication. And so that'll be a great example of enhancing customer satisfaction. So that goes hand in hand with the customer experience. So you also want automated reminders during tax season too. So instead of putting one employee in charge of making phone calls or emailing a client, you can do automated reminders now.
And
So
hopefully they
yeah,
remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I would say simple data collection. I would say nowadays with so many choices out in you know, the tax industry, your first impression of new customers, that goes a long ways, because they want to make
Mhm.
sure you have the right tools. Security is tight, especially when it comes to IRS. Like they don't want their information to get leaked. So finding the right tools is definitely a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I have a digital signature. It's friendly, and it creates a good impression. So if I don't have to go find another tool, I can just you sending me something to sign electronically, I'm going to sign it, and you get a faster turnaround time.
Yeah, I got that personal experience from you
Yeah,
when we set that contract.
yeah,
So it was pretty cool actually.
yeah. And then when there's triggers, and then automation too, you can trigger for events, so you can get notifications if something important has occurred or maybe something went wrong. That way you can be one step ahead for your client, and you can be able to support them better.
Yeah, so it's doing taxes and we need to have the 8879 signed, the electronic forms.
Yeah.
Uh, do I get a notification from OnTask saying, "Hey, it's been like 4 days or 3 days, whatever X amount of days, and they haven't signed"? Does the system automatically we
Yeah.
send them
So
another one or a
yeah. So
notification?
yeah. So through our platform, you can send out notifications. How often as you like, you know, how often you want to bug the person. So you can do it hourly. You can do it every 4 hours. It just depends on how you want to set it up.
Okay.
As I would say most tools have that set up, and if they don't, that's something that should be a deciding factor when you're looking for a solution that's
Hmm.
like automation and electronic signatures. But
Yeah, because I'm thinking more like tax season. I have clients in front of me. I have appointments.
mhm,
When am I really gonna have that time to send them, hey, I need the signature done today or in the next 2 days? And
yeah.
with so much going on, I'm like, oh man, did this person sign already or not yet?
And that's great too, because sometimes I know that like the customers or the clients, they get busy too, and so
Hmm.
they know they have to sign something, they just completely forgot about it. They got busy, they had to
Yeah,
pick up kids from school,
practice, yeah,
yeah,
whatever. The life happens,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And so being able to get a notification like, oh yeah, I forgot to sign this. So getting that, because some of these can be time sensitive, like especially if let's say outside of tax season that somebody wants to book a wedding at one of your venues, and there's somebody else looking at it. So if it gets booked up before, you know, somebody else books it up before you do, some things like this that are time sensitive. So you want to
Mhm.
make sure that you get these documents signed and back to the company in a
Or
timely
an
manner.
IRS letter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are time
Or
sensitive.
IRS letter. Um, and I would say too, the branded communication, I would say nowadays, I was at a show in New York, and I asked somebody, because we do e-signature as well. And I asked them who they use, and they said DocuSign. And I asked them why they use DocuSign. They said, "What's name recognition? Like when we send a document out to a client, we want them to see that it comes from a reputable source." And I said,
Mhm.
"Well, what about your company? If something comes from your company with your logo on it for a signature, like an envelope or an email for a document to be signed, your name should be,
Mhm.
your name recognition should go a long way too, not just DocuSign, right? Because there's a reason they're using you, especially in your tax office. Being able to get an email to a client like a intake form
Mhm.
or engagement letter that has your logo and stuff on it from the email, where they open it up and they sign it and they can upload it. They know it comes from a reputable source. It's going to be secure.
Yeah, because let's put it in even more simple terms. In the tax industry, when you see a square or a
Yeah,
block, who do you think of first?
yeah, yeah,
Or the color green, and
yeah,
and and that's why we're like super heavy on marketing and brand recognition. So if you want to be that leader in that community, this
yeah.
is why we always emphasize market, and the slightest details that you probably think that don't even matter really matter. I mean, correct me
Yeah,
if I'm wrong.
yeah, and even in the message that goes out in that, DocuSign, when they send it out, they put like, hey, this is somebody has sent you something to be signed.
DocuSign, yeah.
Yeah, so through OnTask, even through our platform, you can automate just the email message, so you can brand that as well, however you want. So the outgoing message can be, it's 100% white labeled. You can customize that however you want.
Yeah, you got a message from Latino Tax Pro. Make
Yeah,
sure you sign
yeah,
this Latino Tax Pro document.
yeah. Uh, and I'll say the last way they improve automation is automated security and compliance. I know with the IRS, their protocols, they're very strict. Um, so to make sure that you're in compliance. So I mean, for tax season, that means the returns get accepted faster, and it gives your clients an easy way to get their paperwork over to you as well. And here's a big one: this is time and money. How we're going to save time and money. Um, bring this up. So, how can automation save time and money? So when it comes to how automation save businesses time and money, especially on those manual day-to-day tasks, automation teams can be more productive. They get the middleman out of many processes. It gives small businesses like yours and mine the ability to drive more change without investing more employees or greater resource into it. So automation truly helps you work with what you've got to grow your business. Businesses that went digital in 2020 saved roughly around $43,000 a year. That's quite a bit. I don't know about you, Facente, but I know what I could do with an extra $43,000.
Yeah, that was basically gonna be my question. You know, you as the business owner, where else can you invest
Yeah,
$43,000? Maybe
yeah,
a new one more employee, more software, upgrade your systems to be more um automatic friendly, automation friendly, I guess would say a better
yeah,
system. I know so I've heard of customers saying, "Oh, well, I still use a not that there's anything wrong with the AOL or any other system, but everything's kind of moving more digitally, like Gmail, that's a more common one. But
yeah,
whatever your preference is, but all we're saying is automation."
yeah. And businesses using e-signatures rather than wet signatures were able to get customers to respond 21 times faster than before. That's a big one too, especially during
Yeah,
tax season. That's a big
yeah.
one. Let that sink in. 21 times faster.
Well, even this whole process, but what needed a wet signature because of COVID, that
Yeah,
opened up that door to get these e-signatures. For example, I had colleagues that purchased homes during the
yeah,
COVID times, and I was like, "Hey, did your hand get tired?" Like,
yeah,
why? I was like, "Oh, because of all the signing." They're like, "Oh no,
yeah,
I didn't have to sign." I was like, "Oh, great! I had to sign like a whole encyclopedia when I was buying my house." So that e-signature would have been way easier for me.
yeah. And I was in the tax industry when COVID hit, and I worked on the software side. But from my experience, what I saw Vicente was the companies that were utilizing online and mobile were able to they didn't skip a beat because they already had the automation tools in place. So um, even if the clients couldn't make it to the office because of the COVID shutdown, they already had something in place. And so they didn't skip the beat and they were successful. It was like they had a really good tax season. The companies that were a little bit more old school and were used to having clients come in the office and do everything manually, they struggled because of the shutdown, the clients couldn't come in. So it hurt them quite a bit. A lot of those businesses shut down.
Yeah, with COVID, what showed us is how quickly can we adapt.
Yep, it sure
And
did.
unfortunately, some people weren't able to,
Yeah,
maybe because they were stuck in traditional ways. But yeah, here we're always open to, and this is why we do this, so you can come and meet
yeah,
the latest softwares like
yeah,
Contask.
yeah. And I would say the average employee saves around 60 hours each year with digitizing at least one process. So if you automate one process, on average, you'll save about 60 hours. All right. So what to look for when you're in an automation platform, and I'll kind of get into this. One, you definitely want secure signatures. That's a staple when automating. The e-signatures are 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 legally binding and they're e-sign Act 2000 compliant. Um, fillable digital forms. These are a must-have component for any platform you decide on to make a collection sample. So you definitely want a solution when you're looking to automate that you can do fillable digital forms. So For example, like a client an engagement letter, any form that you can digitize with your logo on it, and then capture data from your client before tax season, before they even get to the office, so you can start working on their tax return. That goes a long way. I would say document packages. Document packets. Tax professionals often have multiple documents to send to each client. I would say look for a tool that lets you combine documents into one single packet versus for your customers to sign. So instead of you sending out, you save a little bit of money, so you don't have to send out like 5 different envelopes through e-signature tool. You can combine that and put it into one, so you save a little bit of money. Find a tool that's user friendly, something that your employees can use, and something they can learn on a fly. Because I know during tax season too, or a lot of these employees are seasonal, so they come in, you're training them, so you want to give them a tool they can learn right away. My favorite one is you see here, it would be the customized workflows. And let me give you an example of a workflow. So this is something that we here at OnTask specialize in. And I'll give you an example. We actually had a HR director from a big healthcare facility reach out to us. So this HR director, poor lady, I felt really bad when we did a discovery call with her, and she was telling us that she had to send out 500 packages to the new hires, to new nurses is who she hired. So she hired roughly around 500 new nurses every year. And those nurses, Vicente, they were, it was about 25 different forms that those nurses could get, depending on whether they were part-time, full-time, or PRN. And it also depended on what state they were in. So whenever they hired somebody new, this poor HR director was manually sending out these documents, or a combination of these documents, to her. And so when she reached out to us, we took those 25 documents, and within our platform, we have customized workflows where we were able to start the process with a QR code or a link that all she had to do was send out the link to the nurse. And then we built in conditional logic on some of the radio buttons. So what I mean by conditional logic is the nurses, all they did is that they open up that link that the company sent them, and they put their basic information, and then they pick part-time, full-time, or PRN. And then depending on what choice they picked, it automatically added all the documents they needed signed. And then they also picked what state they worked in. And depending on what state they picked, it automatically added those documents and combined them into one envelope, and it sent them an email. And then when they open it up, they just sign all the documents that fit their criteria. And so the HR director, she didn't have to send out a combination of the 25 documents manually to 500 different nurses. All she did was send them out a link, an email with a link, and then they did all the work for her. So when you talk about customized workflows, you can imagine how much time that saved her.
I bet. I don't know if I could be able to do that.
Yeah. I would say too, when you're looking at a solution, find a solution that's predictable pricing. So somebody that's not going to raise the prices if you go over a certain number of transactions. So find a reputable company, and if they're going to raise a number of transactions that you've already hit the number of, let's say, e-signatures that you already purchased for the year, and they double the price after you go over that, and they kind of hold you hostage. So find one that's good with the pricing. Of course, I would say a big one would be security safeguards. Knowing that your customer data their data is secure should be top priority. And most of the tools that you need to look for, I would say, is look for two-factor authentication, secure cloud storage, encryption, isolated networks, and tamper-proof documents. And compliance. Compliance is a big one too, especially with the IRS. You're going to make sure that it's IRS protocol compliant, HIPAA, FERPA, SOC 2, CCPA, FedRAMP. And because when we talk about compliance, that's a big concern in any industry. Comprehensive support. That's good. But yeah, separate workspaces. So that's another one, 2% that I want to bring up too. So when you're looking for a solution, depending on what it is, if it's an e-signature solution, a workflow, document, it doesn't matter what it is. I look for separate workspaces. I know during tax season, you may have a workspace where it's for your tax office, but once tax season is over, you have another business, let's say in real estate or insurance, and you don't want those employees in the insurance business looking at the documents from your tax office, right? Because that's your client's data, and they might not have they might not be versed in how to handle tax returns, or they've never been trained. So you don't want that's somebody's important information. You don't want them looking at it. So being able to separate those two workspaces, I would say it's almost like two rooms in a house. So somebody's not allowed to go to the other one, and you can set user permission, so they're only able to see if they're employee in the tax industry, they're only able to see those those tax documents. But if it's an employee in the insurance business, they're only able to see documents in the insurance side of it. Custom branding is another big one. Being able to, like I said, we talked about earlier, your name recognition should go a long way too. So being able to customize a brand what goes out to your clients, not only in tax season but out of tax season as well. And that last one would be a template library. So picking a tool with the template library gives you access to pre-built documents and forms that you can customize on your own. And this could save a lot of time when you need to create a new, some sort of new process for your company. And that's it. Any questions for me?
No, you covered a lot of great information. Yeah, that definitely doing the branding is a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially nowadays. And it's great that OnTask gives you that opportunity and the availability to actually do branding. But let me see. At this point, we welcome everybody to submit any questions that you may have for Javier.
Yeah.
But I think I asked you my question, like, hey, well, what about during tax season when I'm super busy? Can I send um, notifications, and how soon can I send them? And do I have to set those up, or set up the reminders?
Yeah, so when it comes like in our platform, you can set those reminders. So we have customized workflows. So you can set those reminders so it can get escalated. We can put it in a workflow, so you don't have to keep doing it every single time. It'll automatically send out reminders depending on how you want to put those reminders for the escalation.
Nice. And those
Yeah,
those reminders, that they go out as text messages or emails?
they can be both. So one that you set up for text message, for most part, they go as email messages.
Okay.
Yeah, in our workflows, they go as email.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, and if we set it up as a text message, can the client reply back, or do they just get a notification and
they're
that's
just
pretty
gonna,
much it?
yeah,
Oh,
they would get a
okay.
notification. Yeah,
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so just making sure, because I know usually those are some of the questions that we would ask. Because
And yeah, and of course, we're going to be at we'll be at Latino Texas. We'll be Boots 713, and we'll also be doing demos there. So I know the big one for tax season, which we'll be showing, will be like a client engagement letters, or we can customize that for anybody, any tax office. And then we could also make a requirement. So depending on how they answer that engagement, some of the questionnaires on the engagement or that client intake, they'll have to upload IDs, and they can't submit it and they can't sign it until they upload the documentation that you need.
yeah, I know exactly
Yeah.
that's cool. Because sometimes we do require them, like, because customers will be like, well, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? And we're getting a question from Mireya. Thank you. What is this app? Is this an application or is it web-based?
It's web-based. Yeah. On
Uh,
task.
OnTask is the name of the
Yeah.
company, and it's web-based. Can it be used as an app? Is it an app-based web app,
Yeah.
or?
So it's friendly. So if you use it on your phone, it'll cut down looks like a mobile app. But yeah, it's customizable. It's not, we don't have an app. It's just web-based, but yeah, we can make it look like it's like when they open it up on their phone, it'll look like it's a mobile app. It'll cut down the screen.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, thank you, Mireya, for your
Yeah.
questions. And definitely, if you're going to be at the fest, we invite not just you, but everybody else watching who's going to be at the fest to stop by and check out the demo that Javier and the team will have.
Yeah.
They're going to be in booth 713.
Yeah. And if it's in
We're,
there, yeah, I just want to plug in real quick. Yeah. So what we do basically at OnTask is so we're replacing for any e-signature. So if you're using HelloSign or DocuSign, I know it's expensive. We're usually about half the cost. So if you show us the invoice, we cut the cost in half, no questions asked. You can set up reusable templates, and then the one feature that kind of sets us apart is our workflows. So with that workflows, it cuts down on the envelope costs and the transactions, because we can combine any process that you have. We can combine all the documents that you need signed. We combine them into one envelope per se. And then, so instead of you sending out 5 different documents for signature, then paying, whatever platform 5 times for sending out those documents out for signature, we combine them into one, and you pay for one. So,
Yes.
yeah, and then you can set the permissions however you want.
Nice. So it looks like Mireya will be at the Latino Tax
Yep.
Fest. So we're looking forward to meeting you there. Yeah, as I mentioned, stop by. You can scan the QR codes right here for the presentation
Yeah.
or schedule a chat or just
Yeah.
pop into the booth 713 at the fest and talk with one of the team members. Javier does speak Spanish as well.
I do.
So if you're watching this transmission in English and want to know if he speaks Spanish, yes, he does. And I know this personally because I've known him for a while.
Yeah.
So just throwing it out there. So, alrighty. So it looks like we have no more questions. Any last words you wanted to say, Javier, before we take off?
No, I would say, yeah, just when it comes to automation, I would say the world we live in today, and I give you an example. My mom is very old school. She's always used a flip phone. We got her an iPhone, and now she's on Facebook. She's sending out. She's putting memes and everything. But so that even the older generation, I would say, they're moving more towards the technology
Digital era?
nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
digital era.
Yeah, and so our kids, our younger kids are like
Mhm.
they grow up with the tablet. So the way the future is going is automation is going to be a big part of how businesses succeed.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny because my mom watches these Facebook lives too. So
Yeah,
she'll be like, "Oh, I saw you and what'd you do
yeah,
today?" And then I'm like, "Well, I did another Facebook live." And she's like, "Oh, let me see." And then she starts
yeah.
scrolling on Facebook. So I
And then I
think
get a
it's
text.
yeah, it's super funny. No, they don't text me yet, but
I'm sure I'll get a
but
text from my mom. She'll be like, "Te fue bien, mijo. Te fue bien."
yeah. So I'll see my mom like, oh, look. And then as soon as I walk in the door, I'm like, what? She flips over her camera, like, see, it's you. And
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I know. I did one of those. I was
yeah,
like, I'm gonna do one tomorrow. He's like, all right. They're like, I'm gonna check it out. I'm like, but it's in English. They're like,
yeah,
it's okay. I'm like, I do a couple in Spanish, but it's here and there. But no, yeah, definitely to point that out and just kind of piggyback on that. Yes, technology is here to stay, and all we can do is embrace it. Because if you don't, the next person in line will, and
yeah,
your competition will. So we want to get ahead of the competition.
yeah. And if you have any questions, if anybody out there listening has any questions, come by our booth. So when we do workflows, they're all customizable. So we listen to your process. You tell us how you want it built out, and we listen, and then we build it out. So you're not doing any of these manual processes. So big or small, come out and talk to us. Come say hi. We'll actually have the wheel. You can win prizes, and we usually have good prizes too.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop by booth 713 for your chance to win something really
Yep.
good. But yeah, more than anything, I just wanted to say one last thing was if you already have a solution out there and are looking for a second opinion or see how you can save some
Yeah.
money and gain a little bit more time,
Yeah.
schedule a consultation here with Javier and the team and see what they can do for you.
Yeah.
See if they can outmatch whatever you have going on, or maybe just stay with whatever solution you have going on.
Yeah.
Either way, a consultation doesn't hurt anybody.
All right. Thank you, Vicente.
Awesome. Thank you, Javier. Thank you, everybody,
Appreciate
for
it.
tuning in. Hopefully everybody has a great day. Thank you.
Bye.